Thank you, thank you. Oh, wow. Please have a seat. Thank you. Yes, it's an absolute pleasure being here. I have spent my entire life in this profession, and I define this as the most important subject of your life, which is communication skills. A person who is good at communication skills will be a better parent, they will be a better partner, they will be a better professional, they will be better at selling properties, right? Yes. They will be better friends. They will be a better version of another human being. And I've spent 25 years on this subject. I've done 3 TED Talks, which are among the most viewed in the world on public speaking and communication, which is awesome, yes, thank you. And what I want to do for you today, I have 45 minutes. I want to grab those 25 years and I want to give you the best of the best of the best of the best, okay? So see to that you have pens and papers ready to truly learn some amazing stuff. Well, if you haven't seen them before, the first TED Talk I did was called How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint. Has anyone been killed by a PowerPoint before? Yes. Has any one of you killed anybody with a PowerPoint?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Better stop doing that. The second TED Talk was the magical science of storytelling, which is a big part of this keynote. I'll get back to that. My third and last TED Talk was the most crazy thing I've ever done. After being a coach for 15 years, I started seeing patterns in human beings, right? After coaching for 15 years. So I looked at you and I saw, hey, you have your head tilted, right? To the left. Beautiful. What's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos. All right, that's 1 point for you. Well done, well done, well done. And then I looked at you again and I saw that you nod your head when I speak. That's another point. Well done. And I see some of you got your head tilted, you're nodding as I speak. What does that mean? So I think it was about 9 years ago, I started asking myself these questions. Do you think it means something? Is it important?
Yes.
All right, so tilting your head slightly shows increased levels of empathy. All right, so if you say, hey, my cat died this weekend, it is very probable that you will tilt your head slightly to the left or the right to show, oh, I care. It's the same thing when you have a client or a customer. To show them that you truly care, tilting your head is important. But then again, also nodding, just as you are, and you are, and you are, very nice, points to you, shows that you are listening actively and that you're interested in what's being said. So I asked myself, okay, there's 2 skills, how many skills are there? So I started counting them. I spent 7 years studying 5,000 speakers to find every skill that I could find. I simply couldn't find anything else after 7 years. And I found 110 skills. 110 things you all can do which can increase your ability to communicate. And I want to take you through a couple of my favorites from that. But this is what they look like. So, how many of these would you think that you use today? Ask yourself that question. How many of these do you think you use in your communication today? Right, for instance, tilting head, nodding, open body language, decrease of volume, change of melody when necessary, good eye contact, functional gesture, distinct gesture, not sloppy gesture. Give me an idea, give me a guess. How many of these skills do you think that the average person who sells uses?
10%.
There's 110. How many? Give me a number.
10%.
8, 20, 80? That's high. I heard a 7 over there, but when you're dead, you have 7. So, yeah, it's definitely beyond that. The number is closer to 35. So the average person working in sales uses 35 skills. That means that there's a phenomenal potential in your ability to communicate. So I want to bring up a couple of favorites here. Some of these are called mother skills. They are more important than other skills. Number 25 is called filler sounds. And those are the sounds that sound like this. Right? Okay, what do you say? I'll put it like this. If I were to look at you during a sales meeting, I would be able to tell immediately when you feel most insecure. Because when you feel most insecure, when you are losing your thread, when you don't feel confident, you will use more filler sounds than when you are confident. When you are confident, you are pausing. You are not using filler sounds. Now listen to the difference. I'm going to give you 3 examples. I'm going to give you rhetorical device without pauses, then with pauses, and then with filler sounds. Listen to the difference in these 3. Did you know that every single decision you've ever made in your entire life and you will make for the rest of your life is based on one thing and one thing only, and that is an emotion? If you give that emotion to the people listening, they will take the decisions you want them to take. My coach comes in and says, volume okay, pace a bit too high, but your pauses, they suck. And I say, can I go again? And he says, yes. So the only thing I'm going to change now is the pause. Listen to this. Did you know that every single decision you've ever taken in your entire life and you will take for the rest of your life is based on one thing and one thing only? And that is an emotion. If you give that emotion to the people listening to you, they will take the decisions you want them to take. Is there a difference? It's a big difference. Now listen to what a lot of people do. They add filler sounds because they don't feel confident or because they haven't really, I guess, figured out that they use them. So listen to this example. Did you know that every single decision that you've ever taken in your life and you will take for the rest of your life is based on one thing and one thing only? Then that is an emotion. If you give that emotion to the people listening, they will take the decisions you want them to take. Is there a difference?
Yes.
And it will impact how you feel, and it will impact how you are perceived. So my tip to you is this: get rid of your filler sounds. I can promise you that you can get rid of them within 8 weeks. How? There are 3 steps. Number 1, get a friend to snap their fingers every time you use a filler sound. Okay? Bam, 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 bam. Every time you use a filler sound, bam, your friend snaps their fingers. Okay? Now you become conscious. Number 2, you have to replace the behavior. It's easier for the brain to replace a behavior than remove a behavior. So my suggestion to you, what I've been coaching people to do, is inhale instead of exhale. So instead of going, you don't go, you just softly go, and then you carry on. If you do this consistently for 8 weeks in your private life, when you're fetching a coffee, when you're at the store, when you're with your family, you will get rid of 95% of all your filler sounds, and you will seem more confident in all your negotiations and presentations and pitches. Cool? Cool? Cool. I'm going to get back to that in a little bit of time. This place is where I live. This is where I left 36 hours ago. Isn't it beautiful? Right? As real estaters, do you approve? Yeah, incredible. It's got 36 rooms, it's 1,000 square meters, it's built in 1796. And I want to give you an insight into what made me buy this place. Because when I got into it, it was like a ghost house. I got this feeling of The Shining. Have you seen the movie Shining? The 2 twins? Wherever I went, like every corridor, I thought I saw them. It was horrible. I didn't want to move there. I did not want to move there. But my real estate agent was brilliant at one thing, and that was telling stories. So she told stories about the history of this place, how 2 kings of Sweden had lived there. She told stories about the future, about how my spa could look, how my cinema could look, where I could build that. When she told me the stories about the future and the stories about the past, she convinced me to buy it. And today, it's the biggest dream, the best house I could ever own. So I thank her for being able to tell me stories in order to believe in what's possible and what has been. And that is a big part of your profession, is telling stories, right? I would say that what would happen if you weren't able to sell dreams? What would happen? What would happen if you weren't able or allowed to tell those stories? It would collapse very, very frequently. So storytelling is an absolutely fundamental part of your work. And I'd argue to say that it is the most powerful skill in sales. And I want to give you an insight into that. I want to take you back to 2009. A man by the name Rob Walker was baffled by that somebody paid $1.5 million for the red leather jacket that Michael Jackson was wearing in Thriller. Do you remember that jacket? Yes. It's a nice jacket, right? But is it worth $1.5 million? Yes. An identical jacket, a thrift shop, maybe what would you pay for that? That somebody slept in, they've been hangover in, they've been sweating in. How much would you pay for that? Nothing. People would have to pay you to wear it, right? How can this be worth absolutely nothing, but the same or an identical jacket be worth $1.5 million? Because Michael Jackson is just a story to you. Your story is different from your story. You don't know him personally. Your story of Michael Jackson is based on what you've heard about him, what you've read about him, documentaries, when you listen to his music. He is a story. Imagine that if you take a story, attach it to a jacket, it increases its value by monumental levels. And if you're selling real estate and you can tell a story that a famous person lived there, would you say that that increases its value?
Yes.
Yes. Because you borrow a story from something to increase the value of an object. So Rob thought to himself, how powerful is this? How powerful is storytelling? So he deceived a study called the Significant Object Study, where he walked over to eBay, he bought 200 random objects, okay, just random. They were supposed to cost around $1 each. One of the objects was this horse's head. Isn't it beautiful? Do you want this? Like, ooh, the cravings for this horse's head. Probably made by a 7th grader, painted by a 6th grader, right? This horse's head cost 99 cents to buy on eBay for Rob Walker. He bought 200 similar objects. He calls up an author and he says, hey, can you write me a story to one of the objects? And the author said, absolutely, I'd love to write a story. And then he called up another 199 authors, and at the end of the day, he had 200 stories to 200 objects, 200 stories to 200 objects, and it was time to publish the objects again. He goes onto eBay, and I assume it's with nail-biting anticipation that he publishes them, right? He spent a lot of time on this. Would there be a difference? Do you think there's a difference? But how? They're only stories, the pictures were the same. Would there be a difference? And how big would the difference be? Is it small, big, massive? It's huge. This horse's head was sold for $62.95. And if you're quick in maths, which I think you are, you know that that is a slight value increase of 6,258%. 6,258% based on what? Just a story. Nothing else. So then you ask yourself, but what happened to the other 199 objects? Well, in total, the 200 objects were purchased for $129 and sold for $8,000. The study has been replicated 4 times with equal and similar results. A story can increase the perception of the value of an object immensely. If I were to ask you, and this is a key takeaway from me, this is one of the most important things I'll give you today. Like, how many stories do you have in your head about property? Like, how many stories? Your answer to me, among those who I've coached, would say, I have 20, maybe 30 good stories. That's not true. You have 200 stories. You just don't know it. And the way to know it is to write down every single time you tell a client a story. Every time. If it's 10 seconds, if it's 20 seconds, if it's a 30-second story, it doesn't matter. Every time you tell a story, write it down so that you have it. Because by that story, you can increase the value of another apartment. But you'll forget that you have it if you don't write it down. This will become one of your most powerful sales tools. Write down your stories because they increase the value of objects. Has any one of you been to James Bond, watched that in the movies, or something like that? Have you watched action movies?
Yep.
Yeah? It is super interesting to see. It's almost more interesting sitting outside of the movies. I love studying body language. I can sit outside of the movies and I can tell you who watched James Bond movies. Because they walk differently when they come out of the movies. They go like, yes. You can literally see their entire stance has changed from before the movie to after the movie. This is because testosterone is increased when we watch action character, action hero movies. And we can see them walk and move, and some people, they don't forget this, so the next day they're walking to work and they're going, still walking like James Bond, and then they look down and they go, oh my God, isn't that, and they're at the watchmaker, and they see the same watch that James Bond was wearing in the movie, right? And they go like, oh my God, isn't that an Omega Seamaster? It's the same one that James Bond was wearing. Oh my God, I need it. I need to have it. I want to feel like James Bond, right? And then they look, what does that cost? Oh, only $15,000 to tell time. $15,000 to tell time. I'm not insulting you. Some of you may have Omegas and you're like, I didn't buy that because of James Bond. I didn't buy that. But I promise you this, you bought it because of a story. You bought it because of the history of whatever who created that watch. So, stories can increase the value of objects in an immense way. And I want to give you a couple of key takeaways on how to build good stories. Look at this. This is a neurosubstance you all have in your brain, and it makes you feel, listen very carefully, it makes you feel desire. It makes you want things. This is the primary substance to why people buy property. If they don't feel that, they don't want the property. How do you know that you've created this in the person that you're talking to? They have a sparkle in their eye, they have a hunger in their face, they have a desire in their voice. Have you ever heard that? Absolutely. You have then, as a real estate, created dopamine in the other person. There's one small problem with dopamine though, and that is that it goes down after about 4 to 5 days. So you may have to remind them of how amazing the object was, otherwise it'll dip and they'll look at another object. So about 4 to 5 days, you have to increase dopamine again. 4 to 5 days, you have to. And the more often you can do it, the more dopamine you can create, the more desired you will make, and after a while, they'll go mad or insane if they can't sign the contract. So dopamine is a key core element. It creates these 4 things. Look at them. Look at them. Are these important in your clients? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you leave a meeting and you have not created that, have you failed?
Yes.
Absolutely. So the question is, what does dopamine feel like? I'm going to show you a video of a woman. Her name is Susan Boyle. Have you seen this video before?
Yes.
Has she got an amazing singing voice? Okay. So she was in British Got Talent. Nobody believed in her. When she starts singing, she blows everybody away. So what I want to do now is I want to create dopamine in your brain, okay? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to show you this clip. On YouTube, I have loads of dopamine clips. So what I'm just wanting you to do now is lean back, observe, enjoy, and feel the dopamine flow, and you need to be warned, because it'll feel amazing. Is that cool?
Yes.
Then it'll feel even more amazing, and then more amazing, and then we'll come to almost like a climax together. Is that cool?
Yes.
Then it will suddenly become painful, and then it'll feel good again. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So now lean back, enjoy, and you will feel the neurosubstance dopamine in your brain flowing. Here we go.
My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian.
It's a big town.
It's a sort of collection of villages. I had to think there.
And how old are you, Susan?
I am 47. that's just one side of me.
Okay, what's the dream?
I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it will change.
Okay, and who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
Elaine
something like
Page.
that.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from the Miserables.
Okay.
Big song.
Yeah? Yeah. We were in agreement, you know? We were in agreement. It was going to feel amazing, even more amazing. We were almost going to climax. This was the point of that. And then suddenly pain, which is what you're feeling at the moment. Yeah? But we were in agreement. And I showed you that within 40 seconds, I could increase your dopamine levels. Your focus went up, your motivation went up, your creativity is running wild. We're going like, he'll show the rest. He can't, you know, he can't just stop it. Some of you are so dopamine addicted in life that you are literally going, he's stupid. Like, why did he tell? He's just getting good, you know? And I've been to this conference, and some of you are so dopamine addicted that we will find you in the corner out there watching the rest. This is the feeling you want to create in your clients. Desire, give me, I want more, I need more. Yes, please give it to me, yeah? So measure your sales pitch ability by looking and feeling their desire. And by telling stories that create these effects. Create stories about the expectations, the possibilities. Like, draw up, what can be done here? What can we do here? How can this be achieved? What is the possibility here? You love cars. Triple garage, imagine yourself coming in on a Sunday, just parking that beautiful baby, walking back, looking at all those three displayed. You see your neighbor walking by, just, ooh, yeah, it's like the new car you got over there. And then you just plant dreams, plant ideas. Every time you create expectation or desire, every time you create possibilities, you create dopamine. Dopamine is core, otherwise you'll fail. Cool? Yes? Check. I also want to give you this one. Dopamine is contagious. When you are driven, they will become driven. When you are hungry, they will become hungry. When you went to school, which teacher did you like the best? The teacher you liked the best was the most passionate teacher about their subject, correct? Absolutely. So remember that when you are proud, they will feel pride. When you are driven, they will be more likely driven. Dopamine is contagious to that extent. And I know it's hard. Imagine that you've showed 10 properties during the day. After the 8th, maybe you feel depleted, right? Maybe you'll feel depleted after 8. Correct?
Correct.
Correct? All right, you have to find that ignition in you. You have to find that spark in you. What you have to do is envision yourself that if I can convince them to buy this property, their family will have this, 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 and this. Their kids will have this, this, and this, and this. This will be achieved. Build that why, that dopamine in yourself to become contagious. I want to just give you a sneak peek into this. Some of you have employees, some of you present numbers, right? Have a look at this. This is so cool. This is a chart. This is Porsche 911 Turbo S. Has anyone got one of those? Any Porsches here? Yes, nice cars, nice cars. Any Teslas? Wow, there's way more. Well, and then supercars, which are non-street legal. Which one is the fastest? Tell me. Is it the Porsche 9? How fast is this? Is it fast? Give me a number. All right. Oh, yeah. Close to, yes, 3.2. Is the Tesla Plaid faster, yes or no? Can an electrical car be faster? Yes! And the supercar, non-street legal cars, can they be even faster? And the answer is no. No, it's yes, just kidding. What's interesting with this is that you don't care about cars, you may not care about the data, but you're still going, I think it's faster, I think it's faster, it could be faster. Because I create expectation of results. Same thing for you. All right, let's move on to our second substance. You see, if you just walk into a meeting high on dopamine, you probably won't get another deal with that client, because dopamine is egoistical. It is, give me more, I want more, I want more. Dopamine is not about caring about others. So I want to show you oxytocin as well. You have to mix these two when doing a meeting. So oxytocin has these abilities. Would you say that they are important? Yes or no? Would you say that this is kind of your foundation for your trademark, who you are, who you do business? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah? If this doesn't exist, the chances of you closing a deal or gaining a client are lower. So I want you to feel oxytocin as well. Is that cool? I'm going to show you another video. I promise not to turn it off in the middle. Okay? I am, with this video, my intention is to increase your oxytocin levels, which is another neurosubstance in your brain. Science has showed us that videos that we feel empathy for increases our oxytocin levels. So I'm going to show you a video of a boy who's never seen color before. He was born colorblind. His class has bought him a pair of glasses, which allows him to see color for the first time. Have you seen videos like this before? Okay. Again, I want you to feel oxytocin, so lean back. Do not do anything else. Just look and feel the difference from the other clip. Are you ready?
Yes. Okay, they're all yours. Okay, they're all yours. Let's see what it does. So what do you think then? That's awesome. Hey, come here. Come here, dude. Oh, Mom, you're gonna be in there too. That is so awesome. I told you it's gonna be a little emotional. Hey, now that just tells you how beautiful the world you have. God and I get to see it for the first time, right? So be happy, be appreciative. Right? That is so cool. When I touch them, don't you want to touch them? I want to touch every color, right? Go ahead, you can touch them. Why don't you keep those?
What does that make you feel, right? What does that make you feel? Does it make you feel different from the other one? I see tears coming out of your eyes. Do you feel more warm? Do you feel more present? Do you feel more caring? Which one do you want to be when you're selling properties? Do you want to be the first one? Give me more, give me more. Why did you turn it off? I want more, I want more. Or do you want to be perceived as more of this? Do you think there's a benefit to being perceived more than this? Yes or no? Yes. Right, but how many do you think have gone into client meetings or to pitches or to shows and they have not induced oxytocin in themselves? They just went from one viewing to the next viewing to the next viewing to the next viewing, which is more about gimme, I'll show you, gimme, I'll show you. So what I'm proposing here is that one of the most fundamental parts of communication that I learned during these 25 years is that your mental state, your substances in here matter even more than what you say. So the next time you want to be perceived as more human, more caring, showing more empathy, induce oxytocin by watching a couple of these clips. Sit in your car before going to the viewing, spend 2 minutes, watch a couple of these clips, and you will humanify yourself. Okay? I'll give you one more. Imagine that you've been out walking and you've been working all day, right? You're high on dopamine. You're like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do that, oh, I'm going to do this. And you go back to meetings that you've had. I did that great, oh, I should have done that differently. How many times have you got home to your family with work stuck in your head? How many times? Gazillion times, yeah? Gazillion times. Is that the best version of you for your family? No. So, the same thing here. If you just took 2 minutes in your car before going into your family, the difference is massive. The first time, you can't see their eyes, you can't feel their hugs, you don't hear the answer to the question, how was your day? but just inducing the oxytocin for 2 minutes, feeling your eyes tear up, then you go into your family, you will feel their hug. You will see their eyes, and you will hear the answer to the question, how was your day? And your entire evening will be different with your family because you are present. This is such a big part of communication, changing your emotional state to match whatever you're going to go into, right? So here are the tips. Yeah, it's super powerful. Hey, that single tip is life-changing for some of you. That single tip is life-changing for some of you. It'll save some relationships, that single tip. What I did when I stood there, am I nervous? Absolutely. There's 1,000 people of you looking, judging, wanting to learn from me. Am I nervous before going up? Absolutely. It is entirely natural. So when I stood there behind the scene, I took up my phone and I looked at my daughter, who is 11. She is my absolute queen in life. Her name is Leona. I look at her, I look at photos until I cry just outside. Then I go up on stage, because then I'm a person who cares more than if I didn't do that. Make sense? Yes. Thank you. You should see her. Wow. Yeah, I should have brought her, yes. Her mother is from Chile, so, you know, like, she's got a very, very nice combination of genes. These are, just write this down, because when you are doing your viewings, every time you allow yourself to be a little bit personal, allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable, you create oxytocin. So I just want you to imagine this. You're at a dinner setting, you're talking about weather and wind and whatnot, and you are not connecting with the person to the side of you. Cool? You're not connecting. But suddenly you share something vulnerable, something personal. This other person will do exactly the same, and within 5 minutes you will have connected more with that person than you have hours before that. So even in a viewing, beware that every single time you take the chance of being just slightly vulnerable or slightly personal, oxytocin is created. Just like I did when I told you the story about my daughter, who I love very much. That little story, which took me 40 seconds to tell you, which is absolutely true, connected me closer to you. That make sense? Yeah. So be personal, be genuine, and this one's also interesting. When you're viewing, you can say something which is a possible problem that will most likely increase oxytocin as well. So you could say something like this. Well, you see the pool over there, you see the railing, you have a 3-year-old, you don't want your 3-year-old to fall into the pool, so therefore this is now set around the pools to avoid that. Now, just saying that will increase their oxytocin levels. So you can point out problems that are solved with the property that will make them feel more secure, for instance. Okay? Super cool tips. I hope that you're writing like your pen is glowing. Personal, genuine, possible problems. Okay, I want to show you just how easily, I guess, moved we are by oxytocin. I want to show you how easily moved we are by oxytocin. I'm going to show you a video clip of this. Here we go.
Many of you feel bad for this lamp. That is because you're crazy. It has no feelings, and the new one is much better.
Go IKEA, and you're going like, oh, poor lamb. What's interesting with this is that it is possible by just using music and angles and video can create oxytocin in you for a lamp that you don't even care about. Isn't that so cool, right? Isn't that so cool? Which means that you can do the same when talking about the property itself. You can create an oxytocin attachment to whatever is being shown there. And this is also the reason you have so much garbage in your attic, in your garage, which you cannot let go of, is because you have oxytocin connections with the objects themselves. Interesting fact. All right. Thank you. All right, so these are two substances. I just want to make this super clear to you because they are the most important substances in communication. Dopamine over here. Give me more, give me more, give me more, I want more, I want more. Why did you take that away from me? I want more, I want more, I want more, okay? You want to create that. I want that property, I want that this thing, I want that thing, whatever drives you. And the same thing goes for you. If you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, another day, another 10 calls, blah. You are not creating any dopamine. But if you wake up in the morning and go like, oh, 10 calls today, ooh, I'm going to sell at least 2, I'm going to book meetings at least 3 of them. I am excited. You are literally creating dopamine in your brain by doing those things. Now oxytocin is over here. I care about you. I am present. And I'm vulnerable. And I want what's best for you. These two is what I call the basis of an angel's cocktail. Now there are 4 more substances: endorphins, serotonin, testosterone, and cortisol. I only have 45 minutes, I don't have time to go through all 4 of them. But I want to give you one more bonus, and that is testosterone. You all, men and women, have testosterone. It's just that in men, we have a higher volume to start with. But listen to this very carefully. If you increase your testosterone levels by 10%, you still get the same psychological effects, whether you're a man or a woman. So listen to this then. If you increase your testosterone levels by 10% before going into a negotiation, studies have shown that you always come out with a bigger price, a bigger win. Studies have also shown this. If you increase your testosterone levels before going into an interview, you will have a bigger chance of getting the interview before those that did not increase their testosterone levels. The same thing has gone with presentations. So increasing your testosterone levels before going into a meeting will change how you feel about yourself. You will immediately become more confident in that situation. So the question then is, how do you increase your testosterone levels? Well, I love to do a combination of, I call them stacking skills. Right? So write this down. When you want to increase your testosterone levels, listen to music that makes you drive your car too fast. Do you understand the kind of music I'm talking about? Okay. So music that makes you feel confident. Listen to that music. Secondly, move or walk like you own the world. Thirdly, play victory thoughts in your head of winning. And then fourthly, this is going to sound a bit weird, but primal screams has shown to increase testosterone levels. Okay? That means that simply screaming can increase testosterone levels. Now if you do all of these 4 together, chances are amazing that you'll increase your testosterone levels. So what I did just before, because I wanted to mix my own angel's cocktail with oxytocin and dopamine and testosterone, was I stood outside there and I built up my testosterone, okay? And the way I did that, I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's going to look a little bit weird, and that's because I don't usually do this in public, but I want to show you what it looks like, okay? So I'm going to remove the mic just a little bit, because I'll be screaming just a little bit as well. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be weird for me, so yeah, you better support me on this one. All right, so this is the way I would build up testosterone. I listen to that music, I go. And you can literally see testosterone in my face. I walk differently, I speak differently, and I move differently. And this lasts for about 10 minutes. You do that before going into a meeting or a viewing, you'll appear more confident. Combine that with oxytocin, that also makes you vulnerable and caring. Combine that with dopamine, which is a drive. That is how I've coached some of the very best in the world. Change your own mental state, become the best version out there that you can be. Thank you very much. Thank you.